anybody who's just tuning in right now, a tornado warning has been issued for northeastern Connecticut. Here it is on early warning pinpoint Doppler. We've been watching this storm out ahead of the line, the main line of storms, that is. And if you are underneath this storm, make sure you seek shelter immediately. We talked about the possibility that the environment could potentially favor some rotation, and that's certainly what we're seeing with this storm right here. So when it comes to tornado safety, it's not something that we deal with much in this part of the country. Remember, go to your basement or the lowest floor of your house, an interior room or a bathroom, something that doesn't have windows. Closets are a great spot to be, showers, baths, things like that. You just want to make sure you stay away from windows. And again, if you have a bathroom, or rather if you have a basement, that's the best place to be. Cover yourself up if you are in the path of that tornado warning. You can use things like pillows, blankets, grab a helmet, whatever you can do to protect your head. So this is, a pretty serious storm. Here's the live look on our iCam in stores. Again, we can't see much at this point in time, but on early warning pinpoint Doppler, we were tracking this storm, and now it's moving to the east at about 25 miles an hour. This hook right here, that's right over Mansfield, this is what we're watching very closely because that's where the rotation is strongest, and this is headed right now toward Wyndham, Willimantic, Brooklyn, tracking right down Route 6. We can actually zoom in a little bit farther to talk specifically about some of the roads that this is crossing. So bear with me for a sec here while we zoom in. Marinville Road to Bedlam Road into Chaplin, Chewink Road into Hampton. We're looking at Main Street, Fisk Street, and this is all impacting Mansfield Center. This is impacting North Wyndham. Certainly a strong thunderstorm that we have. Mansfield Hollow State Park, Mansfield Hollow Lake. That's where the rotation from this storm right now is headed. So it's crossing right over the lake as we speak. If you know anybody that was out hiking at Mansfield Hollow State Park, if you know anybody that was trying to get away, sneak out and enjoy what was, a very hot day, let them know that there is a tornado warned storm, and we, again, are dealing with radar indicated rotation, so we'll be watching this very closely. If we zoom back out here for a bigger picture of the storm itself, you'll notice that this storm has a bit of a hook associated with that, and that's something that we look for when it comes to actual tornado warned storms. Here's the hook echo itself. This is the part of the storm that could potentially produce a tornado moving over Mansfield Hollow Lake right now and into Chaplin. So this is working its way out of stores. Here's a look on our iCam too. Still can't really see much in the distance, but certainly some impressive cloud structure. And another risk with this storm is going to be the potential for gusty winds, wind gusts outside of the rotating part of the storm to about 60 miles an hour. We could see hail underneath this storm as well. And we've just been tracking it as it works its way to the east at about 25 miles an hour. So next up, underneath this warning is going to be Chaplin. It's going to be Hampton and eventually Brooklyn. Moving through Mansfield Hollow State Park right now. If you're underneath this warning, for anybody who's just tuning in, if you got a ping on your phone about a tornado warning and you are under that, make sure you seek shelter immediately. Lowest level of your house, basements are the best. Stay away from windows, interior closets, interior bathrooms, any rooms in the house that don't have windows would be the best spot to be within this tornado warned area. And we're still tracking other storms across the state right now too. This is the cell that's out ahead of the main line of showers and storms. Notice as they're working their way very quickly across the state, but it's the tornado warning that we're focused here on northeastern Connecticut. So as this line of showers and storms approaches, we could actually see this storm is rather outrunning the line of showers and storms. So this is the one that has the tornado warning associated with it. Here's the main line of storms bringing torrential rain to different parts of Connecticut. But right now we're much more focused on this tornado warned storm because of the potential, again, of a tornado. Radar indicated right now. We're keeping tabs with National Weather Service to see exactly if they've gotten any reports from it. If you're in the area, seek shelter immediately. We'll zoom right back in on this tornado warning and talk a bit more specifically about some of the roads that the storm itself is crossing over. Bedlam Road, North Bedlam Road in Chaplin, Gross Road, Phoenixville Road, all next up with this. Will be in the clear. Chaplin and Hampton, that is not the case as the storm is tracking east at 25 miles an hour right into Chaplin and Hampton. So we're watching this storm very closely. Thankfully, so far we have not seen anything that would suggest that the tornado on the ground is not confirmed. This is all still radar indicated, but we're watching this very closely, and we will continue to monitor it, showing some impressive signs of rotation, certainly, as well as just zipping off to the east there at about 25 miles per hour. If you are underneath this warning, you should have gotten a ping on your phone. Make sure that you are taking that advice very seriously, and you are seeking shelter, again, lowest section of your house, basement, any interior rooms away from windows that you have. And it's this one cell that's out ahead of the main line of showers and thunderstorms. Quite a bit of lightning. In fact, as these storms work their way east, they're actually working their way into an environment that will support their upscale growth quite a bit. Some very heavy rain likely falling underneath this tornado-warned storm, and perhaps some hail. We've been watching what National Weather Service has been saying. So far, not seeing much in the way of signs of hail, but even outside of the potential for rotation, we still have wind gusts possibly to about 60 miles per hour. And again, this became tornado warned as it worked its way over Mansfield and is working its way to the east right now. We'll time this out for you again for anybody who's just joining us. We do have a tornado warning, an active tornado warning across the northeastern part of the state. It's this cell right here, tracking just north of Route 6 through Chaplin and Hampton, moving east at about 25 miles per hour. Certainly an impressive storm, and as we've been discussing through the day, we've had the potential rather for maybe one or two brief spin-ups somewhere in the region. This is making its way into Chaplin as we speak. Hampton 742, Brooklyn by 756. So this storm packing a punch even outside of the potential of a tornado, likely some strong wind gusts under it, and certainly some very heavy rain. If this can hold together, it will make its way toward Danielson and the 395 corridor. Some of the roads that it's crossing right now, looking like it's crossing, say, 198, Phoenixville Road, cross through 89. So that's the way that it's headed right now, maybe clipping North Windham too on the way as it moves toward Pine Acres Lake in the northeastern part of the state and makes its way toward Route 97 in Hampton. So those are the things that we're watching with this. 198 and 97 are the roads to watch. If you know anybody that's traveling in this part of the state, tell them that there is a tornado-warned storm that's headed toward them. Watch as it started to show that hook echo. Again, one of the signs that we look for in a storm like this is this little hook right here. That says that there could potentially be some rotation. We discussed the wind around that too, and why that's the case as it moves its way off to the east toward Chaplin, Hampton, and eventually Brooklyn. Again, expected to be in Brooklyn by about 7:42. This tornado warning right now goes until 7:45, and we will see if National Weather Service extends that and see if it can maintain that rotation as it works its way through the northeastern part of the state. Anyone underneath this warning should seek shelter immediately. If you're in Hampton, and especially if you're in Chaplin right now where the storm is crossing as we speak, make sure you are in the lowest level of your house. And this is a good reason why it's a good way to have multiple ways to get warnings. It's a good way to be able to tune into your TV, be able to tune in on your phone, whatever you can do to stay up to date whenever you get storms like this. This could certainly allow for more power outages. Given the saturated soils, too, we could hear more reports of uprooted trees in this part of the state as it works its way through Chaplin and into Hampton, crossing again 198 right now, and will eventually cross 97 here. So if you're underneath this tornado-warned storm, we don't talk about tornadoes here very often. Here's a live look from our iCam right now in Storrs. Again, we really can't see much from this camera, but certainly very tumultuous outside and plenty of moisture to potentially support this. And we just got confirmation actually from the National Weather Service that this is now an observed tornado. All right, so National Weather Service says that this is an observed tornado. It is confirmed. So we have a tornado right now over Chaplin near Windham. This storm is moving east at 20 miles per hour. If you are underneath this tornado warning, seek shelter immediately. Now a confirmed tornado on the ground in Chaplin, just north of Route 6, crossing 198, headed toward Main Street in Hampton. Again, National Weather Service saying this is now a confirmed tornado. Lowest level of your house, interior rooms, bathrooms, closets, showers, a great spot to be. Grab something to cover yourself. If you have a helmet nearby, if you're into mountain biking, something like that, throw that on your head, and it's certainly best to be on the lowest level of your house. Again, this is now a confirmed tornado working its way through northeastern Connecticut, crossing 198 in Chaplin, and making its way to Hampton right now. We will time this out for you. This is very important. If you know anybody in this part of the state who may not be tuned in, tell them to seek shelter immediately as it works its way basically due east. So 744 to Hampton, Brooklyn 801. This tornado warning will continue until 7:45, although now that we have a confirmed tornado on the ground, this may actually get extended a little bit farther. It is just north, if not right along, parts of Route 6. Route 6 meanders in this part of the state. So again, this is now a confirmed tornado from the National Weather Service. This is about as real as it gets in these situations, and we will continue, of course, to track it with you here on the Early Warning Pinpoint Doppler. Hampton, 7:44. So you have a few minutes now to seek shelter, and you certainly need to with this storm. Brooklyn, you have until about 8 o'clock. But get to the basement now, and we, of course, will continue to watch this for you. Cover yourself. Blankets, pillows, anything to protect your head. A helmet. Now, as the line of showers and thunderstorms starts to approach a little bit more quickly, a little bit closer to it now, we could eventually see this storm sort of run out of fuel because it gets caught up in that approaching line of showers and thunderstorms. And as it does so, that could help to knock it back a bit. But for now, we have a confirmed tornado on the ground in Chaplin, Connecticut. We'll flip over to the winds here and talk a bit about what we're watching and why specifically this thunderstorm ended up with the warning. And that has to do with one of the cool things we can do with the Doppler radar is actually visualize sort of what the winds are doing within the storm. Here's the green winds, that's toward the radar, these gray and red pixels away from the radar, this tight couplet showing the actual rotation of the storm. And again, this is now a confirmed tornado on the ground in Chaplin, heading toward Hampton, Main Street in Hampton, Route 97, tracking just north of Route 6. So if you know anybody in Hampton, Brooklyn, make sure that they are certainly weather aware and seeking shelter immediately, given this confirmed tornado on the ground. Again, this is about as real as it gets for us here in Connecticut. Even outside of the tornado, we're still dealing with gusty winds within this storm. We'll zoom out a bit here and talk more about the statewide perspective as this storm works its way to the east. So the change in that box, the red to the fuchsia color signifies rather that this is a confirmed tornado. And here's the line of showers and storms approaching from 84 all the way basically down the 84 corridor to Waterbury, even out to almost Danbury. We are going to watch this work its way very closely, or rather quickly, to that confirmed tornado on the ground. We'll zoom back in here and talk a bit more specifically about this cell. It is beginning to show maybe some signs that hopefully it's starting to weaken here. But if you're on Main Street in Hampton, Providence Turnpike, Route 6, Hampton to Brooklyn, seek shelter immediately. This is now starting to impact, or rather will soon be impacting Brooklyn, East Brooklyn, Danielson. Again, National Weather Service is calling this a confirmed tornado on the ground, traveling east at about 20 miles per hour. So here's the roads that we've been looking at: Stetson Road, Canterbury Road, Woodward Road, Windy Hill Road. These are all areas being impacted by this, and it looks like the strongest rotation may have gone right over Main Street in Hampton. And again, we're anticipating at least some issues related to this. So the Providence Turnpike, Hartford Road, in other words, Route 6, toward Brooklyn, toward Danielson, a confirmed tornado on the ground. This is heading toward Stetson Road. This is heading toward Graff Road, North Society Road, as it continues its trek to the east. It's this part of the storm that we are most focused on, and this purple box here indicating that this is a confirmed tornado on the ground. Radar confirmed. It has not been National Weather Service not saying that a trained spotter has seen this, but it has been confirmed by radar. In this part of the state, we've had saturated soils. This could easily uproot trees and cause quite a bit of damage. Root systems are already compromised on trees, but again, confirmed tornado on the ground toward Brooklyn right now. Basement, interior rooms, away from windows, cover yourself. Certainly an impressive thunderstorm moving through the northeastern part of the state. We'll zoom out just a bit here to get a bigger picture of where the cell itself actually is. And it's moving down Route 6. National Weather Service has not extended this warning, so we still have a severe thunderstorm warning surrounding this storm, but the tornado warning itself has not been extended. We're beginning to see perhaps a bit more lightning with it, but overall it's starting to lose maybe some of its structure that allowed that rotation. But take a look at this, the reflectivity values approaching those pinks, those dark reds. There could be some hail certainly possible with this as it approaches Brooklyn right now, crossing just north of Route 6 as it continues to track east and making its way toward Danielson, where it could cross the 395 corridor. So anyone that's traveling in that location, make sure that they are aware of that as well. This will be traveling across 169 in Brooklyn, and it looks like it's going to be mostly north of, say, downtown Brooklyn, and making its way toward Danielson. Maple Street in Danielson, Route 12 in Danielson, if it can hold together that long. Rain already likely falling in Danielson. And it looks like, all right, no update from the National Weather Service on whether or not this warning would be expanded or not, but it's moving toward Brooklyn, Danielson. Again, the part of the storm that we're watching is certainly the southern end, but the entire storm can pack a bit of a punch. This is an observed tornado on the ground from the National Weather Service in Boston. So what started off as potentially a tornado, we have, again, confirmed that there is a tornado on the ground moving to the east at about 20 miles an hour at this point in time. Storm is slowing down as the line of showers and thunderstorms behind it begins to catch up. If you are in the northeastern part of the state, make sure you let everyone know. Here's a bit of the structure from our iCam in stores. We can actually visualize it now that the storm has gotten a little bit farther away. Quite a bit of lightning beginning to appear in stores as well as the next line of showers and thunderstorms starts to move through. We don't see tornadoes here very often. Seek shelter immediately. If you got a ping on your phone, basement, lowest floor of your house, interior rooms, closets, away from windows. Bathrooms are usually a good spot too. And make sure you cover yourself. You can use blankets, you can use pillows, and if you happen to have a helmet nearby, that's a great thing to throw on your head. This is not something that we really deal with here much, so it's a good reminder. Our iCam in store is certainly showing impressive structure on the line of showers and storms approaching right now, but it's the tornado warned storm that we have our main focus on as it works its way into Brooklyn and Danielson. This is a confirmed tornado from the National Weather Service. We're approaching 7:42 now, 7:43. So we are going to see if this warning gets expanded or extended rather at all. But it's moving very quickly into Brooklyn and Danielson. So if you're in Chaplin now, you have more showers and thunderstorms coming, but the tornado warned storm itself is now past you, moving again very rapidly into Brooklyn, Danielson. This will likely impact sections of downtown Danielson as it makes its way just along and north of Route 6. So here's the tornado warning itself. Hasn't been extended just yet. We're waiting to see if the National Weather Service will extend this into Brooklyn, Danielson, and Killingly. Even if this begins to show less of a sign of rotation, still quite a bit of wind with it. Wind gusts to about 60 miles an hour. We just got word in from the National Weather Service. All right, and this tornado warning is going to continue now. The updated warning goes until 8:15, and this again is for the storm located over Hampton right now, which is what we're looking as it works its way through Brooklyn, traveling basically right down Route 6, crossing Canterbury Road, Warregan Road, Allen Hill Road, Putnam Road, and eventually makes its way toward the 395 corridor. This will have impacts for anybody traveling in the northeastern part of the state. We've been watching this very closely, and again, this was a confirmed tornado on the ground. So the old warning has been expired, and we have a new warning that is now out as the storm makes its way into Danielson and Killingly, South Killingly. This is working at about 20 to 25 miles an hour off to the east and will eventually make its way over the Rhode Island border. But Hartford Road, Providence Turnpike, Route 6 is just dealing with torrential rain, likely very strong wind gusts. For anybody who's just joining us, maybe you just got a ping on your phone in Dayville or Danielson or South Killingly that there was a tornado warning issued for your area. We've been tracking this storm. Here's the line of storms behind it moving through our store's camera. It's struggling to catch up to those, but you need to seek shelter immediately. Again, we don't really talk about tornadoes here that often. They happen in Connecticut, but not very frequently. So head to your basement, the lowest floor of your house, an interior room, a bathroom, a closet, anything away from windows. Grab pillows, grab blankets, grab your pet, and cover yourself up, especially protect your head. You have to protect your head in these types of situations. Given how saturated the ground is and how much rain is falling, take a look at the rain that's going to be on the way behind this tornado-warned storm. This could certainly topple trees. The overall structure of it, not quite as defined as when we had the confirmed tornado on the ground. But again, we are still expecting this to pack a punch as it makes its way through Brooklyn and Danielson, now impacting parts of downtown Danielson here, crossing the 395 corridor. Here's South Killingly up next. If you're in any of those towns, if you know anybody in those towns, make sure that they are seeking shelter immediately. This is north of Canterbury and Moosip. It's moving due east, so should not affect Canterbury or Moosip, but the tornado warning itself outlined here on early warning pinpoint Doppler, this red box for the northeastern part of the state. The storm, again, moving east at about 25 miles per hour. To time it all out for you, to let you know exactly when it's going to be in your town. You can see that very clearly right here. That puts it in Danielson at about 7:53. So in about 7 minutes from right now, we're expecting this tornado-warned storm to make its way into Danielson. Again, an impressive thunderstorm, perhaps some hail, but otherwise very, very strong wind gusts, very, very heavy rain, and possibly a tornado. This is no longer a confirmed tornado on the ground, so a bit of a difference there, but it's making its way due east right now at about 25 miles an hour. Danielson up next at 7:53. In order to look at the wind on this and get a better idea of exactly where that rotation is, we can flip over to our velocity here and notice that we still have these red pixels up against the green pixels. So the red pixels are away from the radar, the green pixels are toward the radar. So we very clearly see toward the radar, away from the radar. You can visualize the rotation over this. The rotation itself about to cross over Canterbury Road, making its way to Warrigan Road in the northeastern corner of the state, in Brooklyn, Connecticut right now, making its way to Danielson and crossing the 395 corridor. So we do expect impacts, especially to travel along the 395 corridor as this tornado-warned storm steadily marches to the east and will eventually move over the border and into Rhode Island. We will continue to track this for you. Of course, if you are underneath this warning, if you got a ping on your phone that there was a tornado warning issued for your area, make sure you seek shelter immediately and certainly take it seriously. We've been tracking this storm. Here we go. You can actually see the hook echo a little bit more clearly here. And if we flip back over to the winds, you can really visualize the rotation with that. So the storm itself still has decent structure to it. Not quite as impressive as when we had the confirmed tornado on the ground, but here is the storm itself. It's this hook echo right here that we watched. This is where, if there was a tornado associated with this, it would be under this part of the storm right here as it moves into Brooklyn, tracking right along Route 6 at this point in time. Brooklyn, Danielson up next in about 5 minutes. So if you're in Danielson, you still have 5 minutes to get to the lowest level of your house and stay away from windows, even, again, outside of the rotating possibility in this storm. The possibility that the storm does have a tornado. We are still expecting very strong wind gusts associated with this. The soil is saturated, tree root systems are compromised, and that could certainly lead to increased damage risk across the northeastern part of the state. And behind this, we still have another line of showers and thunderstorms to go, but this is the storm to watch right now. From the National Weather Service, the tornado warning was continued just because of the history of the storm. although we are starting to see some signals that it is not rotating quite as much as it was. But behind it, there are still thunderstorms on the way. So it's not like this is done and over with. Once this tornado-warned storm moves into Rhode Island, we still have another line of showers and thunderstorms to get through. And while these ones are all sub-severe at this point in time, no severe thunderstorm warnings associated with them, they still could pack a punch. Take a look at all the lightning that is being picked up in parts of Tolland and now Windham counties, pouring in Woodstock, Eastford, along 84, down to Storrs now, Bolton, Andover, and this is all impacting the same areas that are dealing with the tornado-warned storm right now, or rather just dealt with the tornado-warned storm. And we expect this to hold together as it makes its way closer to the 395 corridor here, tracking through Brooklyn, impacting sections of downtown Danielson, the northern end of this storm already reaching into Foster, Rhode Island. And notice that just north of this storm from Putnam and south along 395 here, we're beginning to see this storm get sort of picked up by this approaching line of showers and thunderstorms, which is moving just a bit more quickly than the cell itself. So hopefully that will help to weaken it a bit, but if not, we are certainly watching very closely to see if anything else along the edge of this will begin to rotate and to see if this is going to continue rotating as it does. It is no longer confirmed on the ground, but even behind the storm, any of the towns that we mentioned, Chaplin, Hampton, not in the clear just yet because we have that secondary line of showers and storms approaching right now. So the tornado-warned part of the part of the storm that could potentially be dropping a tornado is about to cross over Canterbury Road, crossing Canterbury Road right now. Here's Allen Hill Road in Brooklyn. Again, that's where we're watching in East Brooklyn. That's where we're watching the storm cross and then eventually making its way toward Warrigan Road, toward Putnam Road, toward 395. So the tornado warning here continues. This goes until 8:15 now. If you are underneath this warning, if you are in Brooklyn, Danielson, South Killingly, make sure you seek shelter immediately. An impressive thunderstorm ongoing. And again, showing signs of rotation. And we, at one point, did have a confirmed tornado on the ground in Chaplin. While we no longer have a confirmed tornado on the ground, this is still a significant weather event unfolding across northeastern Connecticut. So if you know anybody who lives on Canterbury Road, if you know anybody who lives on Allen Hill Road, make sure that you've sent them a text, let them know that there's a tornado-warned storm, a significant storm approaching them right now. As this storm moves off to the east, we will eventually start to see things clear up with the rotation piece of it, but we're not done with the storms just yet. Behind that, we still have an impressive line of showers and thunderstorms. We can briefly zoom back out to the statewide perspective here to talk a bit more about where this is headed. All right, latest from the National Weather Service is that the severe thunderstorm warning capable of producing a tornado was located over Brooklyn near Plainfield, moving east at 25 miles an hour. So that's this storm right here. Again, we've been talking a lot about the tornado-warned storm. Here's the line of showers and thunderstorms that's rapidly approaching it. So even after the tornado-warned storm moves out of Connecticut, we still have to get through this band of heavy showers, frequent lightning, and perhaps even some gusty winds underneath this. So if you're seeking shelter, it's best to just hold on and continue to seek shelter. Let everything blow by you. Let everything pass you by. And certainly if you're out somewhere and you hear thunder, make sure you head inside. Other parts of the state dealing with some very heavy rain right now. New Britain, South, Wallingford, Hamden, New Haven about to deal with some very heavy rain. But it's this storm that we've been watching. Unfortunately, we do not have an ICAM in that part of the state. But an impressive thunderstorm moving through Danielson right now. Moving to the east at about 25 miles per hour. And Weather Spotter just called to report a funnel cloud with the Windham tornado warning. So there is still a funnel cloud associated with this. It doesn't necessarily mean that there's a tornado on the ground, but this this storm certainly shows signs of potentially producing a tornado passing through Brooklyn right now. Here's the 395 corridor. So this is knocking on the door of the 395 corridor. If you know anybody that was traveling in this part of the state, maybe anybody that was heading down to the casino from the northeast corner, anyone in Massachusetts that was going to head down to the casinos using 395, it's going to be very difficult to travel along 395 because not only will there be just torrential rain, quite a bit of lightning, and perhaps some strong wind gusts, but of course this is the part of the storm that could have a tornado on the ground. While we are waiting to hear, again, if this is going to get upgraded like we saw with the previous warning, to a confirmed tornado. Still a very, very impressive storm making its way through the northeastern part of the state. Here's the live look in our iCam and stores. So behind it, this is not the same storm. This is the showers and storms behind it, but you don't get much of a break until this line rolls through. Frequent lightning with this line of showers and thunderstorms. Our iCam certainly showing that visibility will be reduced. And if you are underneath the warning, if you've got a ping on your phone, phones will usually update you now. Seek shelter. Basement, lowest floor of your house if you don't have a basement, and interior rooms are certainly the best spot to be. Anything away from windows, cover yourself, and if you have multiple ways to get warnings, if your phone is charged, that's a great way to actually sort of stay up to date on where the storm itself is tracking, and of course you can keep an eye and keep yourself safe so that you know once everything is passed if you are good to actually head out from wherever you are seeking shelter in your house. We're still watching this storm very closely. This is the line of showers and storms behind it, but the tornado-warned storm itself at this point moving into Danielson and approaching the 395 corridor very quickly. Some of the roads that this may be passing through: Allen Hill Road, Warrigan Road, Putnam Road, crossing 395, Ross Road, Snake Meadow Road up next. If you know anybody that lives on any of those roads, please let them know that this is headed their way. Again, according to a spotter, there is a funnel cloud associated with this storm, although at this point in time, that doesn't necessarily mean that there's anything on the ground. And should we end up with another confirmed tornado on the ground like we saw in Chaplin, we, of course, will continue to keep you updated here. Just prolific rain underneath this as well. And we can't overstate how the saturated soils play a role in thunderstorms like this. We're keeping a close eye on this part of the storm too. This is where the tornado potentially could be, but it's interesting as this storm sort of gets eaten by the line of showers and storms approaching it. That could hopefully help to get rid of some of this rotation. We've been watching it very closely as it makes its way across the northeastern part of the state. The rotation itself not quite as strong as it once was, which is a good sign, but there is still some rotation very visible with this. The green are pixels of wind headed toward the radar, the gray away from the radar. So if you think of it that way, you can really visualize how this is where the rotation associated with the storm itself actually is, and how that's about to cross the 395 corridor right now. So that's what's up next, is the 395 corridor. If you know anybody in the Danielson area, Killingly, let them know that this is, not only is this headed their way, but it's about to be overhead, moving right along Route 6 into Rhode Island. And it's been moving east at about 25 miles per hour. It should be in Danielson just about now. Up next will be, of course, South Killingly. We'll flip back over to the reflectivity so we can get a better idea of what's happening across the northeast corner as a whole. We're beginning to see the radar fill in between Brooklyn and Putnam up to Thompson. Some very heavy rain through Thompson right now, and then back towards, say, Ashford, Eastford, and Storrs. The severe thunderstorm warning still ongoing too, although that was more in association with this one cell itself. The increasing lightning suggesting that perhaps the storm is trying to cycle a bit, pulse back up a bit, become stronger again. But the tornado warning is still in effect. That goes until 8:15. So we still have another 18 minutes or so before the storm will no longer impact sections of Connecticut. But for now, moving through Brooklyn and Killingly. And again, the latest on this storm, not a confirmed tornado on the ground, but we did get a report from a spotter of a funnel cloud crossing Warrigan Road, Allen Hill Road right now. The latest scan from the radar still showing a very defined hook here as it moves through downtown Danielson. So the strongest part of this storm is essentially over 395 at this point in time, moving through downtown Danielson as we speak and into South Killingly, again, right along parts of Route 6. So as it crosses the 395 corridor and makes its way into the far eastern reaches of Connecticut, we will continue to just monitor its progression. We're anticipating perhaps some damage reports once all of the showers and thunderstorms clear, especially since at one point in time the National Weather Service did call this a confirmed tornado as it moved through Chaplin and Hampton. At this point, Chaplin and Hampton dealing with the secondary round of showers and thunderstorms, but an impressive thunderstorm here. And it looks like the severe thunderstorm warning here has been reissued as well. So we're still tracking this tornado warning for you, and we have some other activity across the state. A very active night here in Connecticut. We'll zoom back out to show the statewide perspective. Here's a lapse over the last half hour. So there's the tornado warning storm in the northeastern part of the state. That's a severe thunderstorm warning. So it looks like the severe thunderstorm warning is actually going to replace the tornado warning once we get closer to the expiration of that tornado warning. And here's the line of showers and thunderstorms behind it. So these storms, while generally sub-severe, we did just see a severe thunderstorm warning issued for parts of Fairfield County. These are still going to be very loud as they roll through, perhaps quite gusty, and they will certainly dump quite a bit of rain. A bit of a flash flood risk still exists as these showers and storms work their way through the state. All right, so the severe thunderstorm warning here is going to take over for the tornado warning as this storm moves out of Windham County. We'll zoom back in on this and just briefly chat about it one last time before we start to wrap things up here. So this is moving into northern Sterling, Connecticut, Moosop, Connecticut, over Valley View Road toward Dixon Road and across 395 there. And it's moving off to the east rather quickly at about 25 miles per hour or so. And soon this will be over the border and into Rhode Island. The tornado warning has since been expired by the National Weather Service, but we're still looking at wind gusts to about 60 miles an hour possible with this storm across the northeastern part of the state. While we still have other activity going on, we expect the risk for a brief spin-up tornado to decrease significantly behind the line of showers and thunderstorms that's moving through right now. And along the leading edge of that, things still could be a bit gusty, but generally we have seen everything be mostly sub-severe. So this has been the rogue storm out ahead of everything. Thankfully, the tornado warning at this point in time expired. If you're in Moosop, Sterling, or South Killingly and seeking shelter, wait for this to pass you by. This is almost over the border and into Rhode Island. And as soon as it ends up over the border, we immediately will see our next round of showers and thunderstorms roll through. Certainly an impressive storm across the northeastern part of the state. Make sure that anybody you know in that part of the state is staying safe. Not quite as much rotation with the storm as we once saw, but here's the line of showers and thunderstorms that is now moving through Connecticut. Impressive, prolific rain underneath these, quite a bit of lightning, certainly a bit gusty. Litchfield County dry, not much going on in the northwestern part of the state at this point in time. To Torrington south, it's mostly just lighter rain. North of Torrington and into northern Hartford County, things are much quieter. We're still quiet through most of Middlesex and New London counties, or rather the southern sections of those counties, but you're up next for quite a bit of heavy rain. Tracking down Route 2, we have heavy rain tracking down Route 9 right now, tracking some very heavy rain along 95, 91, the Wilbur Cross, Hamden, New Haven dealing with some very heavy rain right now as well. So now that tornado warning has expired, we are going to wrap up this cut in here. We, of course, will break back in should anything else become warned. In the meantime, you can always stay up to date with the WFSB weather app. It's free. You can track showers and storms right from the palm of your hand, and it gives you multiple ways to get updates on these alerts. We'll be back, of course, should anything else pop up, but otherwise for Eyewitness News at 11 tonight.